Hi, everyone. I'm just letting you know I'm going to start the webinar so the attendees can start coming in, okay?
Yep.
Leave, man. I gotta tell you,
All right, Calvin, we do have a quorum. I'm gonna start the recording at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Eileen.
oh yeah, that's what's going on. Scott might know. Scotty is a sports guy. You know what the football is? Baseball, football, the game plan?
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yeah, there's a game plan. Game plan.
There's a big one
What is it?
for the
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Yeah, like a national.
Two tied teams.
Against the Rams.
Yeah, tied. So
We are now recording.
I like the one in January with all the commercials. I like to watch that one.
it's coming.
Okay,
It's
good.
3/7.
I think it's February now.
Is it February?
I think they push it to February.
Well, that's how well I know these things.
You're right.
All right, we're going to get underway here in a few seconds. Right.
It's 3/7.
Good evening. The December 18th, 2025 Whatcom County Planning Commission meeting is called to order. I'll call the roll. Kelvin Barton, that's me. I'm here. Rudd Brown. Rudd Brown. Daniel Dunn.
Here.
Sunita Eisenberg. And Sunita is on a mission. So,
She said she was gonna join.
There she is.
oh, Sunita, it is good to see you.
Good to be back.
Right. And Nicholas Greif. Nicholas Greif. Jim Hansen.
Here.
Julie Jefferson. Julie Jefferson. Dominic Masseri.
Here.
Scott Van Dalen.
Here.
Okay. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, time for department update. Mark Personius, Director, would you update us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, just schedule, tonight is, chapter 3, the last, chapter of the comp plan, for you to review, public hearing. And, last planning commission meeting of the year. Yay, thank you all for sticking with us. We are tentatively planning, your final public hearing, on the comp plan, for January 22nd. That's your second regular meeting in January. And the January 8th would be your first meeting, and that meeting is available, if needed, if we need to carry over any discussions, recommendations from tonight. And that's all I've got.
Right. Thank you, Director Personius. So now
No,
is, oh,
Just
go ahead.
go,
Were there
so
questions for commission, for Director Personius?
No, I just want to let you know I joined the meeting.
And, oh, there you are. Thank you, Commissioner Brown. I've got you on down here.
Okay.
So right now it is open session for public comment, and sorry, just Eileen is our Planning Commission coordinator. Eileen, would you take over, please?
Yes. Welcome to the meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live and the audio will be uploaded to the website. During the open public comment session, speakers may not speak to items that are scheduled on the agenda for public hearing. That would be on chapter 3, housing, and the new proposed appendices I and J. Those will be held off until the public hearing. So you can speak on any other topic besides that. You'll be given 3 minutes, and we'll start with those in the room first. We have Bill Geyer. He will wait till the hearing, so we'll move to the attendees. I see Darcy Jones. Do you wish to speak at this time?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello. Hi. I just wanted to address the Planning Commission and staff to let you know it's been an amazing year. You guys have done an incredible amount of work and dedication and amazing long hours. And regardless of the vote, I know not everybody agrees on everything, but I just want to let you know it's been a pleasure to watch you guys and see how diligent you've been on these issues. I won't start naming names because I'll just have to name just about everybody. But thank you so much. I know that this process is in good hands. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Anyone else attending online wish to speak at this time? Dwayne Inglesman, do you wish to speak?
Yes, please. Is it possible? Do you hear
Yes,
me?
absolutely. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Dwayne Inglesman. Again, I appreciate your dedication to this process. I'm here to advocate for thoughtful land development and affordable housing in Birch Bay. Birch Bay is not reaching its housing goals, and by not having land available to build on, it contributes to the problem of not having affordable housing. I ask that you all think hard about your recommendations that will impact Whatcom County for the next 20 years. Birch Bay is an unincorporated town in Whatcom County. It has an urban growth area that is largely undeveloped. Birch Bay Water and Sewer District provides sewers to all 4 corners of the UGA, and it's not running at full capacity. The county provided me with data which included building permits processed to 2023. After reviewing the findings, it's important that the commissioners be aware that the past performance is a great indicator of what will happen in the future in Birch Bay. I'm more than willing to share my findings with anyone that wants to see what I found. Here's a summary. In the UR4 zoning, there was 56 acres, and the UR4, which should have provided 228 homes. Actual permits issued was 202 single-family homes. That's only 89% of what was expected. In the URM6, which is really a disappointment, 19 acres were permitted with an expected density of 116 units, and only 72 units were issued, a mere 62% of what was expected. In the resort commercial, 1.96 acres, which should have produced 36 stores, a disappointing 15 units were permitted. That works out to be 42%. Past performance is an indicator of future performance in Birch Bay. By handcuffing the developable area and not expanding the UGA, Birch Bay is doomed to be a substandard community where economic growth will always be a struggle. I again urge this commission to listen to the Birch Bay Community Advisory Committee, who has recommended expanding the UGA. 3 properties have requested to be included, and these properties can provide a variety of housing to Whatcom County. Just in these projects alone, there are potential for over 300 housing units, and that is more than what was built in the past decade. The county actions and calculations need to be adjusted. The current methods of calculations are not correcting the housing shortage in the county. Attached are letter. I sent everybody an email, and there's letters from Jones Engineering, Carmichael Clark, all expressing similar concerns over how the land capacity calculations do not rectify the housing crisis we are experiencing in Whatcom County. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Chair, I'm seeing no other attendees.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. And Eileen, I just wanted to let you know that when we're doing screen sharing, my computer is not giving me the down arrow when some of the people raise their hand. I just wanted you to know that in case I miss someone.
There.
It's
That's
just,
house. Andrew.
well, we'll do the best we can. Okay, it's time now for commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to the topic for the night. And Matt, are you the one on this or?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I thought you were, but I wanted to make sure. And so go ahead and take over, and then we'll have a public hearing.
All right, thank you. So for the record, my name is Matt Ahmet, representing Planning and Development Services, and we're on Chapter 3 of the comp plan, which addresses housing. And existing Chapter 3 includes a variety of topics, including demographic overview, income distribution, housing needs, permitting process efficiency, mixed land uses, access to housing, incentives for affordability, regulatory controls, and preservation of existing housing stock. The Washington State Legislature adopted House Bill 1220 in 2021 to strengthen the sections of the GMA that relate to housing. And in order to address the requirements of House Bill 1220, the county proposes a number of amendments. First of all, to Chapter 3 housing, we would update the GMA requirements to summarize those. Secondly, modifying language to reflect GMA Goal 4 as revised by this House bill to plan for and accommodate housing affordable to all economic segments of the population. I think the GMA goal used to say encourage. And then providing background information on land capacity to accommodate housing needs, identifying the number of housing units necessary to manage projected growth, including units for moderate, low, very low, and extremely low households, low income households, and emergency housing. And then within urban growth areas, addressing moderate density housing options like duplexes, triplexes, and townhomes. Also addressing adequate provisions for existing and projected housing needs for all economic segments of the community, again, including the low, very low, extremely low, and moderate income households, barriers such as development regulations, housing location in relation to employment location, and accessory dwelling units. And then adding a new proposed policy on affordable housing financial resources and programs, and adding a new section on racially disparate impacts, displacement, and exclusion in housing. And then we've got a new proposed Appendix I. So this is the Whatcom County Housing Needs Analysis. This document was prepared by Leland Consulting Group with review by the City County Planner Group, and it provides background information on communities, workforce, and housing supply. And it also identifies sufficient land for housing, basically the results from the land capacity analysis. Then we have a new proposed Appendix J, subsidized housing needs and funding. And these documents were also developed by Leland Consulting Group with review by the county. So this addresses affordable housing funding gaps for Birch Bay and Columbia Valley UGAs, which are the ones not associated with the city. And then it identifies local options for addressing affordable housing funding gaps using a State Department of Commerce checklist. So we do have Andrew Oliver here from Leland Consulting Group this evening to assist with answering questions and addressing the GMA and the reports that they developed. And I would note that the State Department of Commerce has several housing-related checklists that help local governments ensure they are meeting the requirements of the GMA. So the county is currently reviewing these checklists, both for comp plan and development regulations. And there will be additional regulatory amendments that will come forward to the Planning Commission after the comp plan was finished. So as you'll recall, accessory dwelling units and co-living housing were reviewed by the commission because those items would have been preempted by state rules if you didn't address them, but there's other issues too that'll come forward. So that concludes our staff presentation. If you have any questions, we try to address those.
Are there any clarifying questions? Okay, Commissioner Dunn.
Matt, when you said that the regulatory change will come after the comp plan, from my understanding, there's the GMA requires certain things to happen, certain regulatory changes to be in the comp plan, especially with housing. And my understanding is that we need to get that done before we could approve the comp plan. Is that not correct?
Well, the regulations are supposed to be adopted concurrent with the comp plan. So as far as Planning Commission review, you've got the final comp plan hearing come up. And I think the staff at PDS, other staff members are currently in the process of reviewing and developing proposed amendments. So I'm just saying from a, Planning Commission review, that'll extend beyond the comp plan. Hopefully council will then adopt those at the same time.
Okay, but those will be done with or before the final comp plan at the county council?
Well, ideal, it would be, concurrent with, so basically at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Matt? All right, thank you, Matt. Eileen, go ahead.
Can we make sure that Eileen got me in? I'm sorry I had to jump on late.
Yes, I got you.
Thank you.
Okay, and yes, and Eileen, Commissioner Jefferson arrived about 6:08, just for the record there.
Yes.
And good to see you, Commissioner Jefferson. Okay, so it's time now then to have public hearing. And Eileen, our Planning Commission coordinator, would you take over?
Yes. As stated before, the meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website. You will be given 3 minutes for this public hearing on Chapter 3, Housing, and the appendices I and J. We will start with those in the room first. We have Bill Geyer. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Bill Geyer, Geyer Associates. As you know, I'm certified by the American Institute of Certified Planners, 50 years in the field. I've provided a letter to you that the clerk has concurred that it was sent to all the commissioners. And as you go through that tonight, we looked extensively at the housing chapter, and we're providing 11 specific recommendations for amendments in the housing element. You are all aware that every local official, elected official, including ones recently elected, housing affordability has been the top priority for this community. It continues to be a crisis. And you also know policies and procedures that are adopted in the comp plan are precedent then to the following regulations. In other words, they must be in your policies and identified by the county council. So you have a foundational basis to do the regulatory changes. So I'm going to touch briefly on just 3 main items among the 11. The first one at the bottom of the page identified, I appreciate the staff's work regarding HB 1220 and doing the aggregate analysis as to the land use, acreage, and the number of units. However, the key point, if you go to the middle of the page, page 2, 3678-070D Delta, you'll see under subheading II what I believe are omissions in the staff's write-up to you, and specifically where it says that the requirement is to document programs and actions needed to achieve housing for availability, including gaps in local funding, barriers such as development regulations, and other limitations. That was not adequately identified. We have a request of how you can change that policy to be helpful there. Down at the bottom of that page, particularly, you'll see then at the very one where it talks about barriers, such as development regulations. That specifically was deleted in the staff's write-up as to GMA requirements on page 3-2. So we'd like you to upgrade that so it's more specific. If you flip over to my page 4, the one other place I'll make some mention, down towards the bottom, our number 7 recommendation to you, where the policy 3D-7 talks about reviewing development regulations. We're requesting an addition of this language that will assist in further review, and it's that Whatcom County shall provide permissive land use, favorable development regulations, and a navigable permitting and review process for affordable housing projects. It's with that oversight, the other 10 or so recommendations I have here are helping the county to get more in position of having actual proposals that can have realistic results beyond just the aspirational goals. And we hope that as you go through each of these requests tonight, all 11 of these, as you understand them, consider them, and look at your current drafts, it helps to benefit the community with a much stronger policy document. So Whatcom County can begin to really have firm steps to address our affordable housing crisis. I'll be here throughout the evening, and thank you for your efforts.
Thank you for your comment. We will move to those attending online. If you're attending online, do you wish to speak during this public hearing? Please raise your hand. If you're tuning in via phone, please press *6. Chair, I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. We'll close the public hearing. Okay. So we'll begin our work session. Commissioners. Commissioner Rossari.
Yeah, I got a question on 3-20. On policy 3G-10. I was just wondering if you could kind of explain what this would look like, this ARCH program.
We try that?
Yeah, you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
From business and commerce.
Yeah, Dominic, if you want, I can explain that a little bit.
Sure, anyone.
Yeah, so one of the issues when you have a building that's split between units that are rented at a lower income and units that are rented at a market income is that the person who owns or manages the building has to figure out how do you rent to people with slightly different requirements. So for a lower income one, do you base the rent based on the person's income? Do you have to like see certain documents to make sure the person has the income before they can rent? There's just there's a little more paperwork to have to manage it. And down in sort of on the east side, down by Seattle, I think it's Kirkland and I don't know, a couple other places. They created kind of like a multi-jurisdictional body. It's like a nonprofit. And that's the group that organized those rentals. So they will qualify people and say, yep, your income is qualified, and then they'll be able to kind of place them for folks who want to rent them out. If you own an apartment building, like, well, I got 40 units that are affordable, then you contact Arch. Arch says, great, we got 4 people who meet the income guidelines, you bring them in, and then they help you with paperwork. And then if there's from what I understand, there's problems, they can help be sort of mediation and like that kind of stuff as well. There's probably more to it than that. I just sort of have a very glossary kind of idea of it. but that's the broad idea.
So how would that overlay with like the housing authority? Because they kind of do a similar thing. Even I get that they're doing vouchers though, but
Yeah, so the housing authority does, like all of their housing is essentially income qualified. They don't do, as far as I understand it, any market rate housing. So they don't have that problem of like market rate plus whatever. And this would be really oriented towards private developers who maybe they wanted to get something from the city, a development credit, a density bonus, whatever. In exchange, they were willing to give to, rent some units for a below market rate occupancy. It just helps with the management of those kind of things.
Okay.
Jim, you got some motions? You wanna go through yours?
Yes. Have technology. Okay. So the first motion has to do with policy 3E-1, which you probably have that on the screen, no?
Yep.
Okay. So it talks about review and revise existing regulations, identify and reduce barriers, which we all are talking about, right? To development of inhibition, to the development of inhibitions to housing. Okay, well, that's interesting. So anyway, so they're talking about preferences, somehow that our policy needs to accommodate people's preferences of those needing housing. And I think when we're talking about meeting the goals of the state law about providing a wide range of housing alternatives, I think we should be talking about requirements rather than people's requirements rather than preferences, because they might prefer the single family home with the picket fence and the dog, but given their socioeconomic status, their requirement might be an apartment. So I think that people's preferences shouldn't be delinked from their capacities. So that's why I thought requirements would be more correct in terms of linking the need to objective circumstances.
So Jim, your motion is to replace the word preferences with requirements?
Yes. Requirements like I have 3 kids, I have low income, etc. Those are the sorts of things, rather than their aspirations.
I'll second.
Yeah. What about needs? It seems like that's the term I see more often when these kind of languages. It seems like
They use the next 3 words, they say needing, so I didn't want to be one of those people who puts the same word multiple times. That's what threw me off there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, it could be reduce barriers to development for the varying housing needs or something like that.
I'm totally open to, staff accommodations if it's a matter of wording.
Can you write that out, Matt?
Yeah, why don't let me bring up the Word document so we can.
Inhibitions is kind of an odd term to use in there too. Is that a typo? Inhibitions to housing? That's a new one.
I think, well, it's being deleted.
It's striked out.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that your document or his?
His.
No.
Okay, can you see that Word document now?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what policy was that again, Jim?
It's 3E-1.
Oh, what am I doing? Residential. Okay. Okay, there's your development. Could be something like or the varying. Whoop. About something like that. I was saying varying.
I'm amenable to something that gets the point across properly. It doesn't have to be the way I work. If other people are happy with that,
Looks good to me.
Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I have a real challenge with this, telling people what they require. Because we won't make housing affordable, therefore they require something less than what our own generation had. I just find it, I just really have a moral problem with it. I'm not gonna tell my kids they require an apartment to raise my grandchildren because I won't make housing more affordable for them.
guess you should give them a bunch of money then.
You know, Jim, that's an interesting question. How about I work on making the housing affordable for them and all their friends? Because that to me is the social justice issue. It's not, whether I could give them money or not is not relevant. My responsibility is to make sure their whole generation has the same access to housing that I did and you did and we all did. Not just to say you have to get by with less because we've made the rules so difficult.
Commissioner Eisenberg.
I'm wondering if this is an opportunity to also integrate some of those climate impact goals and making sure that, like what Judd and Jim are mentioning, that the next generation are going to have some difficulties with affordability due to what we're seeing with flooding, fire events, and climate impacts that coming out with more data. And just to name something in the room, being a little bit younger than some of the folks here and being connected to our students and our youth, I think there is an evolution or a change in thinking of single family homes and what is desirable and raising children and families in community versus in single family homes. So whether or not the need of the demographic of people based on their income level and their socioeconomic status, we might want to consider some of those environmental impacts as well in these statements, just to make sure that when we're talking about affordability, we're also intersecting that with environmental. We all know that having access to trails and healthy trees are better for our overall health. So I don't know how to incorporate it into a policy. However, I'm just wanting to bring that up to identify some of the conversations I've had with youth around the globe in the last month, and just making sure that we're looking at it from that racial, climate, and social justice lens that both Rudd and Jim are speaking of.
Right. Commissioner Hanson.
Hold on. I'm on. It's difficult on this tablet to do the muting. Well, we saw from the Department of Commerce report that projections for the future is going to be stratified residential statuses. And as much as we could wish for our glorious past to be represented in the future, I think it's futile, and it's our responsibility to plan for the future, not for the past. And I think you all should support my amendment.
Commissioner Masseri.
Sorry, for the sentence to make sense, I think after development, you need to remove of.
Let's see. Oh, there.
Okay. Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, that's the same. to Commissioner Hanson's comment, there's always been stratification of people in different economic segments since time immemorial. The issue in the reports that were also provided by Chris Beatty of the City of Bellingham is that the City of Bellingham, within the City of Bellingham, is the single most expensive jurisdiction in the county, with the exception of Chelan, in the entire Washington state. Housing is unaffordable because we've made it unaffordable, and Bellingham or Whatcom County has made it more unaffordable than anywhere else in the state.
Commissioner Brown, your hand, still have your hand up there. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, a question, Kelvin, just looking at this policy, trying to think about the goal. So the goal is to provide future housing needs that are affordable to all segments of the community, and to respond to changing house demographics. So it is, at the core of it, it's like, let's provide housing that's affordable for people who are the future, like folks who are the younger people, the senior demographic who need housing in the future. And I think this, as it stands here, this makes sense contextually with that. Review and revise existing regulations to identify and reduce barriers to development for the varying housing needs. Yeah, that makes sense. So reducing regulations and reducing barriers to development for housing. Yeah. Focus on particular needs on housing for lower and moderate. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me in terms of like, we're looking ahead for housing in the future. One way to do that, look at our existing regulations, and may make it easier for particular populations, especially the lower income populations. That's my takeaway of what this goal and policy are. Is that kind of correct?
Okay. Commissioner Masseri.
Does this policy kind of make policy number 2 unnecessary?
Well, that's an interesting question. Because too, I guess it does talk about preferences, which is kind of part of the discussion here. You know, the whole HB 1220 talks about housing needs. I don't believe it talks about preferences. But that has been an issue in the past. I think various groups have talked about, you know, for single family housing, not a lot of single family housing, you know, in certain areas. So I guess that's a policy question for you, for the Plan Commission. Do you want to look at those? We would like this type of housing. It may not be affordable now. What can we do to make it affordable in the future?
Okay, Commissioner Hanson.
I just would like to support the concept of providing affordable housing. And I think we really know that the only way we can do that is through greater density. And so I support everything that we can do to streamline permitting, to simplify permitting, to speed it up, because the projects that are difficult to permit and move forward aren't single family homes, they're multi-family homes. And those are the ones that might take 2 or 3 years to permit, and that's a big cost on the developer because of tying up money while they're doing that. So I think we really ought to focus down on multi-family and multi-person, housing, and how we can make that more affordable by cutting away which barriers we can cut away by making our process more efficient. We can't do away with the rules that the state has given us that we have to abide by in doing that, but we can somehow figure out how to expedite the process. And I think that's our biggest challenge is for to expedite the process for multi-family dwellings.
Okay, any other comments?
Commissioner Van Dalen?
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Van Dalen. I can only see half of you per our conversation earlier, so I'm seeing a little more of you now. Go ahead.
I can support the motion as it is. I'd just like to move it along. Can we call that and vote? I think we're to that point.
Okay, we've had a call for the question. Are there any objections?
So just to clarify, the original, what's shown on the screen is the motion, right? Because that's a little bit different from the original.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson?
Yes.
Jefferson?
Yes.
Mosseri?
Yes.
Van Dalen?
Yes.
Brown?
No,
Dunn?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
It passes.
And I've got a question about just the word preferences, because I know in the section below or the next policy, we use the word preferences. I think it's important we're consistent. I'm not particularly married to preference or needs. I think in a lot of the language and the rest of the comp plan and Department of Commerce, they use the word needs, the housing needs assessment, that kind of thing. If somebody feels like there's a particular reason to keep the word preferences, love to hear it. If we can just simplify things and use the word needs, I'd be fine with that as well.
I can support that.
Okay. Then I'll make my motion because I'll have a second. So my motion is for policy E-2 to remove the word preferences. Sorry, 2 word preferences and, yep.
And I'll second.
Thanks, man.
Do we have any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mosseri?
Abstain.
Van Dalen?
Yes.
Brown?
yes,
Dunn?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yeah.
Hanson?
Yes.
Barton?
Abstain.
It passes.
Okay, go ahead.
And question, yeah, as long as we're here, I like a lot of Bill's ideas. So I think as we go through them, I'll kind of throw them out there and we'll see what sticks.
Okay.
So
Commissioner Dunn, can you hold just for a moment?
Sure.
I want to ask you, do you have a list of things? My understanding is you'll have a list of items. Is that correct?
I just have one at a time here. And I figure since we're on this
And
section-
I understand that. What I was wondering about is if you would say run through your first 3 and then we'll pause and give other commissioners an opportunity to introduce things. Commissioner Hanson has more things on his list.
Oh yeah, I can definitely wait too. Jim, if you want to finish your stuff, that's no worries. I was thinking because we're here, there's one there, but I'm no problem.
Well, and what I'm getting at, Commissioner Dunn, is that we kind of did this last time and it worked really efficiently. And Commissioner Hanson, if you would like to continue, you could do that, or Commissioner Dunn can handle, say, 3 of his and then come back.
Yeah, I would
to
defer
yours.
to Commissioner Dunn. Hearing my own voice less for a minute.
Sounds good. Well, I'll just do one. We'll see how it goes. So this is from Bill's letter he submitted today, public comment. And it is goal 3E, policy E2, the one we're working on here. And the request is to add it's a couple sentences. And so the current policy E2 is up there on the screen. And says evaluate all new regulations or codes developed at the county level to ensure the county housing needs exist at that time. And the addition would be, quote, expand UGAs to include specific affordable housing sites, provide permissive land use, favorable development regulations, and a navigable permitting and review process for affordable housing projects. And if I could call on Bill, if that's okay, and have him maybe give a quick minute or 2 as to why he wanted this one added.
Okay, Bill, you go ahead and do that.
Thank you. With the chair's permission. Briefly, as I said in my opening comments, I believe this expands the county's capacity to take a leadership role and positively address specific regulations. And that's why it says to include and provide permissive land use. So you're not so constricted just by some detail that's buried way in the code that prevents some affordable housing piece coming along. And for example, density bonuses are often used in various affordable housing components. That's a development regulation. And we've also talked in the past here how there's potential lack of capital facilities plans that have prevented sites to come in. Well, I would hold that the capital facilities plans, particularly in unincorporated areas, are the responsibility of the county to pursue and to also have other agencies work with that. So I'm trying to give the county the ability and for the county council members to then identify expanding UGAs when those opportunities come about. So I hope that helps the commissioners understand.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Bill. So that is my motion, and we'll see if I have a second.
I can second that.
Commissioner Eisenberg, go ahead.
I'd like to discuss this because if you're expanding UGAs and UGAs don't even have the infrastructures or even the city's willing to give them, like I'm in a UGA, one of the largest UGAs, and it's a little frustrating to expand UGAs when they don't have the infrastructure yet for lighting, water, and building. So I'm just curious of how Dunn's motion would alleviate some of those housing projects, especially when some of these UGAs have been on the docket for 7 to 11 years, and the city refuses I'm talking specifically about the city of Bellingham refuses to even engage with UGAs on how to develop them in equitable spaces. So when you say expand, do you mean make them larger? Do you mean actually put infrastructure in? Could you maybe explain why you want to expand UGAs when they haven't even been served in the last decade?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. So I think in this case, it would be that first sentence is where I'd start with expand UGAs to include specific affordable housing sites. So to me, this means if you have an existing UGA, whether it's that's on the north or I guess on the west side of Bellingham or Ferndale or Birch Bay or whatever, that if somebody identified a site where they could demonstrate there'd be affordable housing, whether that's the housing authority or that somebody will put a covenant on the land, stuff like that, then the county would expand the UGA to incorporate that. And I think that's probably different than like spot zoning, where you just sort of like, oh, we'll just take this one, take that one. It would really be in the emphasis of like, we'll incorporate this this chunk of land, specifically because somebody can provide affordable housing there. The point that you made though is very well taken in that what do we do about the infrastructure needs? Where's the sewer? Where's the water? Where's the gas? Where's the roads? And I think all those things need to be taken into consideration as well.
And I'd just like to follow up. Yeah, I just thank you so much, Chair. I'd like to just follow up with that. I see that as being inequitable because then a lot of the developers that have money and access to be able to persuade or to actually build those multifamily, when we have, everyday people in the UGAs that want to build ADUs or even do multifamily on their property and that are actually zoned for that. And we just don't have the ability to navigate those spaces. So when you say navigate permitting and review processes, wasn't that supposed to be the new streamlined permitting process? So I feel like this motion is a little bit redundant, and instead of having expand UGAs, maybe using a targeted universal approach or identifying specific UGAs for permissible land reuse, because when you expand something that already has been neglected for so long, it's not being served to the community that needs it the most first, especially when you can maximize opportunity zones, which I believe two UGAs in Whatcom are in opportunity zones, so that's even more of an incentive. And then 2 of them also are near Superfund sites, so then you can even tackle into some of those Mega Cleanup Toxin Act fund sites as well as CCLR money. So I want to be mindful that if you're expanding a UGA versus maybe, revitalizing or using a different word that actually would help to build that infrastructure, maybe doing a little bit more of a amendment to this motion, I would be favorable in passing it.
Commissioner Dunn.
Then maybe I appreciate your comments, Sita. Then maybe let's see if would you find it easier to support it if instead of saying expand, it sounds like your concern is mostly that the UGAs as they are, you feel like there's not enough infrastructure there. Would you feel okay if it was, provide permissive land use, fair development regulations, navigable permitting, review processes for affordable housing projects, period?
How about incentivize and innovate? You can use words like invigorate. You could say, I guess, target it. I mean, you can use a lot of different words and expand that would make it more equitable. I can't think of another word other than maybe incentivize and implement strategies, implement and or maybe even develop, incentivize, develop, and yeah, I'm just not really good at wordsmithing like you are yet. So I would defer to what you've done in the Housing Commission before to just use a different word than expand.
Commissioner Eisenberg, I just wanted to give an example. We had, it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, and I know you were in the process. You're doing some great volunteer work and weren't able to make all of those. But one of the items that came up is we have a parcel in the Birch Bay area that used to be in the Birch Bay urban growth area, and it has road, water, and sewer to the property. And that is one that if they were brought back into a UGA would be able to reapply and proceed. And that's some low-hanging fruit. And so I see Commissioner Dunn's motion and helping to bring some of those properties into the UGA so that they can go ahead and proceed. And one is of them has a commitment to low-income housing, and I think one of the things Commissioner Dunn's trying to do is bring those types of projects to fruition, and some that are sitting right there. So I think that's what's behind the motion, although I cannot speak for him.
Well, thank you for that follow-up. And yeah, I did follow along and read as many materials as I could, and I do understand the why. But I also understand that the more you put low-income housing away from where the jobs are, then you're also going to go against the vehicle miles reduced. And we don't have a healthy transportation system that's reliable and frequent enough for people not to rely on their cars. So then we're putting people further away from where they work in hopes that they can then commute the 30+ miles into town. So again, if we expand UGAs, we're not doing an equitable service if we're just going to be pinpointing certain spaces in Blaine or in Columbia Valley, which are then further away from where we're trying to revitalize the places where people want to gather and work and build community.
What about, it sounds like if the expanded UGAs sounds to be maybe a stumbling block. What if it was something along the lines of, the county should provide incentives to support affordable housing sites? Such incentives could include permissive land use, favorable development regulations, navigable permitting. So, instead of saying expand the UGAs, we would say, county, you should provide these incentives for if somebody comes to you and says, hey, we'd like to provide affordable housing, you should provide incentives that include the things in the second sentence.
Sure.
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, I don't think we need another sentence in here that's saying what half of this chapter does. Literally, the next goal after this is 3F is provide incentives to create affordable housing. And then there's a whole set of policies just for that.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I'm following along with that line. I think that it's redundant. It talks about things that are already covered in other places, like the UGAs need to accommodate a full range of housing, including affordable housing. I don't. There's several clauses in here talking about simplifying development regulations, making them more navigable. And I don't really like the word permissive. It sounds like something you don't want your children to be. So I guess I don't think we need this.
Okay,
Oh, totally fair enough. Well, do we want to just kind of move things along? Do we want to just throw up there for a vote and see how people are feeling?
Yes.
Okay, is the vote on the language on the screen here? Is that?
Didn't you want to change that?
It sounds like the language that would have the most possibility of getting, 4 or 5 votes would be to encourage the county to support, encourage the county to incentivize affordable housing sites by providing permissive land use.
Commissioner Hanson.
Sorry, I need to lower my hand.
Okay, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. It sounds like Commissioner Dunn has just completely rewritten that sentence. Is that accurate, or is that still what's on the table? The one that's highlighted now.
Yeah, that's correct, Red. Yeah, so in my version, the sentences is different than what's on the screen there.
Why don't I go ahead and put it in here, and if it gets voted down, I'll take it out. So if it's in the Word document, I can put the wording in that you're actually proposing. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yep.
Okay.
And just in case anyone's tuning in online that might be vision impaired, can we, before we vote, just reread the motion at hand?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, that's folding, but okay. So go ahead and give me that language again. It was not.
The county should incentivize affordable housing sites.
Well, let me catch up with you. Affordable housing sites.
Incentives could include.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then Sneed, I'll just read it out loud. The county should incentivize affordable housing sites. Incentives could include permissive land use, favorable development regulations, and a navigable permitting and review process for affordable housing projects. We can wordsmith that a little bit if it passes, but.
Okay, who gave the second on this motion originally?
I did.
Dunn?
Got.
Okay. Right. And so Commissioner Van Dalen, are you seconding this motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mosseri,
No.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Come back to me.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Hanson,
No.
Jefferson,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Barton,
And
No.
and Nick Greif is here.
Commissioner
And
Greif has just joined.
Brett,
yeah, and I'll abstain because I did not catch the discussion.
Lucky you.
and Commission Chair Barton, what was yours?
No.
Oh. That's all right.
It does not pass. It fails.
Yeah, did we just move to expel Commissioner Greif?
That's why I abstained.
Making a joke. Oh. Yeah.
Somebody else want to do some more?
And Commissioner Dunn, what was your motion prior?
Oh, I'll do another one. This one is also from Bill's. It's his first item. Which would be at the end of bullet point on page 3-2. Let me get there. There we go. All right. Page 3-2, a bunch of bullet points. And there is, it's under GMA requirements. And it would be sorry. Three, two, okay, yeah, so on 3.2, it would be to add barriers such as development regulations to bullet point 4. So bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, yeah, the comprehensive plan has an element foundational to remove county development regulations that are barriers to affordable housing. The omission must be corrected by adding, quote, barriers such as development regulations to bullet 4. And this is on 3-2.
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, it's already in there, isn't it?
In other places, but I think we would support this.
Wait, you've got it on the screen.
No, I just typed it in as Commissioner Dunn was speaking.
Oh.
So that's the added language.
I can second that.
Thanks, Karen.
Just to keep things moving along here, right?
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Hanson.
Okay, here we go, unmuted. Well, I don't like to see regulations considered to be barriers. I think the state has provided us with a set of regulations to development, which our planning people have to go by. I would consider the barrier being such as ineffective, inadequate, confusing, the kinds of things we talked about in other parts of this, about making the development process more streamlined, more fair, less opaque. But I think that if there are barriers such as wetlands, slope stability, and what have you, that they probably need to be there, and the idea that we can somehow lower them for low-income people, again, it takes us back to the creating low-income ghettos. I don't think we really want to do that. I think that all the housing should have the same sorts of regulations, and that we can provide incentives for the development of low-income housing.
Right. Andrew Oliver, do you have some to add to that? And then we'll go to Commissioner Masseri.
Thanks, Commissioner Barton. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all again. I not wanting to wade too much into your discussion, obviously, I just did want to note that the sentence here in question is basically a description of the adequate provisions analysis that's required by HB 1220. All these sort of clauses that are separated by commas here in this sentence are things that are sort of like the bullet points of what the adequate provisions analysis contains, and there's checklists from Commerce that, as Matt mentioned, we're working on, and you will see, and soon, I imagine, if you haven't yet, before this body, that sort of address all these things. And one of the things in those lists is indeed discussion of development regulations, and if they may or may not be a barrier to development. So I think the policy side is important to discuss, but I just wanted to sort of weigh in from the GMA side that this is also partially HB 1220 language issue, which comes from the legislation. So I just want to mention that. Thank you.
So this would be consistent with what the GMA says. So,
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, two things. Yeah, as long as if we're saying this is from GMA requirements, as we've said in other areas, we should definitely make it consistent with that and not insert our new policy. Sounds like staff's saying that it is consistent. So I just want to mention barriers is already in the current draft that we have. The only add would be such as development regulations. So that's what we're voting on. Barriers, it already says barriers and other limitations.
Oh, you're right. I think, yeah.
Commissioner,
Right there.
Commissioner Hanson. I gotta click that.
So sorry, I'm just trying to get the hand down.
Okay. All right. And so we have a motion and a second to add this language. Such as, sorry, I can't read it on the screen here, so.
Such as development regulations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other comments on it? Okay, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
So
What do you say?
what was that? Oh, abstain.
abstain.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
No.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
No.
Jefferson,
No.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
it passes.
And Eileen, I'd like to change my vote to affirmative.
Now you see where the wind
Now you
blows,
go.
I guess.
No. Anyway,
No, it wasn't.
to be honest, I reread it again in context. I mean, do what you wish, but I wish to express support.
Okay.
So I want to ask Commissioner Dunn, you made a motion and we about adding pieces to the UGA, and we all on here are aware of the property on Lincoln Road, and I think I've met the lady once, so I don't have any benefit from this, but where that property's at is near a bus route. And we talked about low income housing, and I know that's important to all of us. And Commissioner Eisenberg talked about that we get people living far away from their jobs, and that's a cost to them. But there are some properties that may be far away from the jobs, but actually they have public transportation to get there. And I would not like us to pass up the opportunity to create low income housing where somebody has access to public transportation. And I'm not saying I have a solution. Some of you are way smarter than me. So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead, Commissioner Dunn.
Yeah, Kevin, I'd agree with you. I think there's a lot of places in the county that'll do a great job for affordable housing. I think for this one, I think the reason to bring it back up is that we're not talking about changing the Birch Bay UGA. I think we already had the conversations on the land use chapter, conversation about UGAs. I think we've voted on that. Now it's up to the county council. But the reason I'm comfortable talking about these is these are more of like a policy-wide thing. They're not specific to any particular property. We know the properties we're talking about, but this would be a policy that affects all the county, not particular ones. So those are my thoughts.
And I knew that, but that's the only one that I'm really familiar with in the county. And I, there's maybe others like that. And it just was, we don't want to leave that out. If it's something we can use to make Whatcom County an easier place, affordable place. So, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, I would just encourage Commissioner Dunn to come back and propose something else that is supportive of that project in Lincoln Road, because I think it's a classic example of what we should be supporting.
Okay, Commissioner Hanson.
I'd like to take issue with your statement that many of us have a higher than you, and I think that is incorrect.
I'm offended. All right. Thank you for your kind words, Commissioner Hanson. Commissioner Masseri.
You.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I got a question on page 3-21.
Is there a policy or a word?
Yeah. Would you rather have the policy? It's
Yeah.
policy 3I-4.
This is from the Business and Commerce Advisory Committee.
Yeah, so if anyone could speak to that recommendation, I'd just be curious how they see that actually being effective and not just another cost for the county. I feel like I'd just like to see how, if someone could explain how that could play out in a productive way and not just be another expense.
Yeah, I can take that one. So I'm on the Business Commerce Committee, and I think when we were coming up with this goal, and I appreciate that it was put into this draft version. The idea was that if you were willing to provide affordable housing, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're a private entity who's just out of the goodness of your heart, whether you see a market thing for it, but if you're willing to provide housing for people with the lower income side of things, then you should get some kind of an expedited, some kind of a, hey, thanks, here's something the county can give you. And the idea was that it would be like a dedicated FTE planner. You'd be like, oh, this is the affordable housing planner, and they'll help you expedite your project and get through it, and make it fast. So it's sort of like it was one of those give and takes, like, hey, if you're a private developer or nonprofit, whatever, willing to do affordable housing, in exchange, the county will give you a planner who will basically expedite your project.
When I read that, that's not what I hear. If it said a plan reviewer or plan examiner, that would make sense to me. If you just say a planner, that could be a long range planner, it could be somebody that's just daydreaming ways to get affordable housing, is how I read it.
Would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I would make a motion to consider. Well, I don't know if I would. I don't even know if a full-time plans examiner is necessary for that. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure that I really like that. I think that if there's to provide expedited permit review for that would be a better way to do it, because maybe it only takes 0.25 of an FTE. I don't really know what that need is. Can anyone speak to that? Do we feel like we have a backlog of these?
Mark?
Yeah.
Expediting affordable housing projects is a worthy goal. Right now, we operate, our code doesn't have specific provisions for affordable housing projects in terms of expediting permit reviews. So that would be a worthwhile policy to move forward, and that could I assume that's what that one FTE was sort of.
That's sort of the goal of that.
Yeah. I mean, we still have a whole bunch of state required regulations we have to go through for any project, including critical areas and utilities and infrastructure and development standards and all of those kinds of things. But you'll see some communities will expedite projects by cutting fees or reducing impact fees, for example, for affordable housing projects. We don't have those. So there's not a whole lot of room to cut really there, but motivating affordable housing, having additional staff is something that can certainly help move projects along faster.
Yeah, and I can see Matt scrolling here. I think in other places it seems like it already says expedited too. So I'm almost inclined just to strike that policy unless someone can give me a reason why we shouldn't. Not that I get to make the call, but
And so I'll having a career in, and I hate to confess this, but having a career in local government, I could see a jurisdiction, and I'm not saying Whatcom County would do this, but I could see a jurisdiction setting aside some permits that came in earlier to address this issue right here. And I could see that if it's not done right, you could end up with potential pushback at the time of application for my project's been in for 2 years, but you're expediting this lower cost one. And Mark, how do you address that?
I would address it by having more staff to be able to process more permits faster. But that's only one component of it, right? I mean, if a site is heavily constrained by critical areas, which most of the county is, that's what typically slows down the process more than anything else. Then you have iterative requests for analysis and mitigations often required. Sometimes you can't do it on site, so you have to do it off site, and that adds a lot of cost and time. And time is money, right? For developers and in particular for affordable housing projects. It's a really sensitive subject. So that's how we would come at it. We can't just waive, we can't waive regulations. I don't have any authority to do that. So we got to put everybody through the same boat, through the same process right now.
Okay. And I know I'm going to get this out of order, but Commissioner Greif, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to weigh in and say that I think it is common for jurisdictions to have an expedited review process for affordable housing projects where you draw the line on affordable, if it's only 100% affordable or 80 or 50 or, whatever. I think it's something that'd be really interesting to see staff come back in the future with a recommendation. But I definitely support Commissioner Messeri's idea to put forward a motion to change this instead of saying just hire one planner when we don't know what the load is, to focus on expediting and basically saying if it's an affordable housing project, it should jump to the head of the queue whenever it's ready. And that's a pretty justifiable thing to do from a public policy point of view. What you say to market rate projects is the public policy need and goal is affordable housing. And so those get to cut the queue because that's, what the public needs. And I think that's, something people understand. Just like if a project for repairing a road has been up next and it was going to come up next week, we all know the sinkhole on Hannigan is going to jump that because that's the public, that's the pressing public need. So I support this approach.
Commissioner Hanson. Mute button.
Okay, sorry, darn it.
Yes.
I support this approach, and if we do need to say something about staffing, we should say additional staffing rather than specifying a FTE. And actually, I think probably the larger challenge should be for the cities to beef up their planning staff, because that's where most of these projects should be going.
Commissioner Messeri.
Yeah, I'm going to try to motion here. I would make a motion to replace this sentence with consider prioritizing affordable housing projects in Whatcom County. Consider a policy of prioritizing affordable housing projects in Whatcom County. And then another sentence following that to say, I didn't have this one fully written out, but I guess the county should consider staffing levels or something to that. I guess I could use a little help crafting that, but to not lose entirely what the Commerce and Advisory Committee was trying to say.
Or something like that.
I'll second for discussion.
So is that language?
Yeah, that seems pretty close, but
Keep waving. I'm gonna push on the side, see if that, I push, or push this way. There we go. Oh, there we are.
Commissioner Dunn, I'm seeing two hands.
My hands were. No, I'm okay, that's great. Yeah, I was hoping that maybe if Bill wants to make comment.
Very quickly, entitlements is the biggest hurdle. I appreciate what you said about plans examination, but securing entitlements among the county and the utility provider and or adjacent city, that's where the best effort can be placed on staffing by the county.
When you say entitlements, you mean?
For example, Mark was very clear about what has to come through and everything goes according to regulations. Absolutely correct. But knowing that at the front end from a site being considered, and then knowing that you have a coordination with the transportation plan, where the critical areas are, the utilities and the water and sewer, steep slopes, et cetera, that sort of information to profile sites and this having a staff person can help bring those types of projects forward and vet them. Okay.
Good. Let's see, so where are we at? Consider prioritizing affordable housing projects. I should consider staffing levels. So it sounds like maybe the conversation is about expediting the project review process overall. Would that be the right wording?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. And would that include entitlements?
Yeah, that's the permitting.
The whole thing?
The
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
The whole caboodle.
So Dominic, what about including the words there somehow? That'd be like expedite the project review
For affordable housing project.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think I stumbled upon some of those words at some point, so.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
Could someone read this into the record just for the tape?
I can read it. Commissioner Mosseri moved to amend policy 3I-4 to read, consider prioritizing affordable housing projects in Whatcom County. The county should consider staffing levels to expedite project review for affordable housing projects.
Okay,
And
thank you,
Commissioner
Eileen.
Brown seconded.
Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, I think the real issue to Bill Guy's comment, I agree, it's an issue of entitlements. How do you get the project approved quickly? And based on my own observation, the biggest single thing that is a barrier is not a lack of staff dedicated to processing the permits. It's when you get a staff member who does not understand the regulations or wishes to impose their own interpretation of what the rules say. And without going into the details, I'll give you an example that I'm currently arguing with a planner on the permit on legislation that I voted on, and the planner is telling me I don't understand what the intent of the legislator was. The legislature was when the stuff was voted on, and I said I was there. So we're in this. We have a staff member who's arguing that the code means something completely different to what it does. What you need is someone who can step up and say, no, we are going to resolve this quickly so it doesn't delay the project any further. That I think would be more useful than someone who's just dedicated on affordable housing per se.
Hey, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, what do you call the roll, please?
Yes, Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Jefferson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
It passes.
Okay, and that included deleting this other language, right, about the 1 FTE?
Yeah, I was to replace that.
Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Dunn, did you want the floor?
Always. I always want the floor all the time. I got one, on, just more of a, just kind of a question, or maybe a clarifying question, on page 3-9. Find it here. Gives us the numbers. Whatcom County housing needs. I just noticed that the overall numbers were off from the numbers that we received from each UGA. And it was a small amount, but the main difference was that Linden on this chart is 500 people more than what's in their UGA proposal. So their UGA proposal is 3,079, and it's on the chart here is 3,535. If I wrote it down correctly.
Let me bring up the multi-jurisdictional resolution.
It would actually be in their, I believe it'd be in their proposal.
Okay. I thought their proposal was consistent with the multi-jurisdictional resolution, but okay, let me bring that up.
Well, I was hoping so.
Matt, I just brought up the multi-jurisdictional resolution.
Okay.
Linden's net new here is 3535. It jurisdiction says 3535. It's the same.
Okay, let me, so there is always a tiny chance that I'm incorrect. Always that possibility.
Or there could be a typo also in Linden's proposal.
Oh, no. You stay with the.
Yes, I made a spreadsheet here which looked at each UGA proposal, and we had some of them had several proposals. Are you able to pull up Linden's actual proposal?
Yeah. Can you see it on screen here? This is
right there in the middle.
This is the one dated 25 September 15th. Perfect. Yep. Okay, sounds good. So where's I looking here? Okay, so if you scroll down to total housing needs, it's in that chart.
Total, what page you on?
It would be, I think you'd scroll down a little bit more. Total there we go. Total housing needs. Too far.
Oh.
I go. Right there. So total.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think
3079.
I think that must be a typo, because everybody said they were consistent with the multi-jurisdictional resolution, which is what it says up here. Where'd we go with that?
I think that number is the sum of their, like,
yeah,
of the housing needs in the other three categories, the 0 to 80, 120, 120 plus.
Mm-hmm. I think that something must have been wrong, because all the cities said they are going with the multi-jurisdictional resolution, which was the 3535. So I think this must have been some type of typo or error or something.
Okay, well, if you call them and tell them they're wrong, that'd be great. Thanks.
Your record stands. You're good.
My record stands. That's right.
Typo.
Typo. That's right. Perfect. It's a time number, so no big deal there.
Matt, I'm checking the county HNA land capacity analysis results for Linden table to make sure that is 3535. Here it is. Bottom. Yeah, it is 3535. So yeah, I think, Matt, there was something in there that they didn't put in the latest one or something. But the one in the later in the packet in the end of the housing needs assessment should be correct. So
okay,
check with them on that.
Do we have everything squared away?
I think so. I think that was some type of typo or error in the chart.
Think so.
Oh, sorry, Matt. Actually, can you scroll back to the chart in Lyndon's proposal?
Let me have to bring it up again.
No, sorry. Was it 3079?
Yep.
Okay, because the pending units were removed.
Oh, they should not have been.
And right, they should have they just took that column out. They should have left that column in.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the aggregate housing needs minus the pending units. So it should yeah.
Okay, good enough. Explained.
Like that, yeah.
So sorry, so at the end of the day, which number is the right number to use for Linden?
35.
35.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. Sweet, sounds good. Page 3-22.
Do you have a policy number? That's kind of the easiest.
You can search for the word inclusionary zoning. And when I scroll in here and find it, I will let you know.
3J-5.
That's what I was.
3J-5.
3D, yeah.
Last policy.
Yep, 3J-5. So the policy is to consider inclusionary zoning that either requires or provides incentives for a specified percentage of units in a new residential development to be affordable for households with low to moderate incomes. And I would motion to change that to say, consider voluntary inclusionary zoning that provides incentives, and then all the rest of that. So removing the words either requires or.
Second.
Then that either requires.
So it would be consider voluntary inclusionary zoning that provides incentives for.
You got a second, so you're good.
Yep, great. And so my thought for that one is that I think when we require people to rent apartments for less than market rate, and people have the ability to invest their money or do their thing or not, then oftentimes they choose not to. So it winds up in a reduction of housing. It'd be like if you were renting out your house or renting a room in your house, your ADU, and I said, hey, you have to rent it out for $200 a month. You might, but if the market is $1,500 a month or something, you might decide not to rent it out because that amount of money, $200 a month, isn't worth it to you for that. So that'd be a unit that could have been rented at some kind of rate, but instead isn't. But if I said, hey, I want you to rent it out for $200 a month, in exchange, I'll give you something. Maybe I'll give you some money, or maybe I'll let you do something else, or some kind of thing, some kind of deal we can work out. That oftentimes work well. I think the key thing here, I guess, to support that is to look at how the multifamily tax exemptions worked in Bellingham. There's an 8 and 12 and 20 year. For the 8 year, so it's exemption on the tax for the property of the building for a certain time period. So you can get exemption for 8 years, and that's been really popular. And all the building on Sandwich Way for the last few years, those new things coming up, a lot of those are using the 8 year, and so you're seeing lots of units coming online. The 12 year requires affordable units, a certain percentage of them, and to my knowledge, nobody in the city has used the 12 year. The 20 year, which gives you a tax exemption for 20 years, which is a long time, requires permanently affordable home ownership, and nobody has used that one as far as I know at this point. So the point would be, if you only had the 12, you would have gotten none of the units down on Sandwich Way. But now, because we have all those units down there and other units that are starting to use that program, then we're seeing an actual dip in the prices of rentals right now. Our vacancy rates going up, which is great if you're renting, maybe not so good if you're an investor. But we're heading to a more healthy rental market, where I think renters will be able to have some really strong negotiating power with landlords. And that seems like the direction that we want to go. So that's long-winded. That's my thoughts.
All right. So I'm going to ask a question here. Commissioner Dunn, did you make a motion on this or just a statement?
Yeah, I made a motion, and I believe Scott seconded it.
No.
Dominic.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dominic. Thank you, Dominic. Don Wextetter
Okay,
seconded it.
thank you.
And then,
Thank
and then
you.
I just talked for a while, yeah.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, is there any other discussion? Eileen, what do you call the roll, please?
Yes, Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Come back to me.
Greg,
Yes.
Hanson,
No.
Jefferson,
No.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
No.
Barton,
Yes.
it passes.
And that's kind of all that I really have. Yeah.
Commissioner Brown.
When you're ready, I have a policy change for 3E5.
Can you speak just a little louder, Commissioner Brown?
Sorry, if when you're ready, I have a policy change for 3E5.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just wait till Matt gets back there. So I would like to add a sentence to the end of this that reads, it's a new sentence at the end of this, after the word housing, and the sentence is encouraging the use of utility local improvement district, open brackets, ULID, close brackets, assessments to repay and maintain it as a revolving loan fund.
Can you repeat after repay?
And maintain it as a revolving loan fund. Yeah, you got it. Thank you. That's my motion.
Commissioner Hanson.
I'd like to second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have discussion.
Wave. Oh, yeah. I'll
Go
push
ahead,
against the
Commissioner
side.
Dunn.
Yeah, I think sort of using EDI funds for infrastructure, that is happening now. The legislature let us use that for those processes, those purposes, I think last year. So we started doing that, which is great. And encouraging use of LID. It seems like those Rudd, is your idea to use those for the projects that are RCW defined for EDI funds?
It's not a change of the use of the money. It's just encouraging people to use ULIDs as an assessment to repay the money, so the money goes back into the fund.
Yeah, I definitely support that. I'm just asking like, so EDI money is RCW defined and what we're allowed to use, I'm on the EDI committee. And so what we're allowed to use that money for is like the words are defined, like you can use this project, but not that project. Do you want ULIDs to be used for just projects that are allowed to be used through EDI? Or this perhaps be a better as a second policy where we say, hey, broadly encourage everybody on every project or other things to use ULIDs?
Well, I'd like to see us using ULIDs a lot because they're actually one of the most powerful funding mechanisms that we haven't used that's actually available to any municipality. I think we've talked about ULIDs elsewhere in the comprehensive plan, and I wanted to make sure it was put here alongside the EDI language because it's.
Yep. What would you think, just to clarify that it's not tied to EDI only projects? If you'd like to use more broadly, what would you think about just making a new policy right under that, maybe a 3E6?
Well, I can't remember where else we've got it in the comprehensive plan, but I think it already is in the draft comprehensive plan in other areas. I mean, I don't mind that I just want to make sure that the EDI rules are, you can only use it for certain things, which is in the RCWs. So that doesn't change. And then the EDI rules are typically for every dollar we grant, we lend to. And it has to be a mechanism to repay that money, because the EDI is intended to be a revolving fund. And all I'm trying to do here is say, when you talk about EDI, think about using ULIDs to repay it, because it takes the burden off the municipality. And it puts it on the developer, frankly. Or the people who buy the lots.
So after repay, repay the EDI fund.
Sure. Or repay the EDI fund. That's fine. And then I'd say to maintain it as a revolving loan fund. Does that address your concerns, Dan?
It does, yeah. I mean, one of the things about EDI funds, we're kind of down a rabbit hole here, but you can, like, the people who can use the money on the affordable housing thing, it has to be like a nonprofit or a government entity. You can't just give the funds out to, like, Joe Blow down the street. So maybe nonprofits using the ULIDs, which, I mean, it might make sense. I don't off the top of my head, I can't think of a reason why to say no to that. Especially with, like, encouraging the use of.
Hold just for a second, because Commissioner Dunn and Commissioner Brown, you've said some really interesting things, but at times you're talking over each other and I can't get it, and I really want to. So Commissioner Dunn, go ahead, and Commissioner Brown, go ahead.
So Dan, you by law you can't give the EDI funds to a developer. To a private party. You can only go to a very narrow list of people, which includes a local government. So you can give the money to a local government who can then build the infrastructure, but local governments are reluctant to take on the loan responsibility unless they've got a way of repaying it. And the ULID, which is effectively funded by the people who own the land that is being enhanced, they're the ones that repay the local government that then repays the EDI fund. That's the sequence of it.
Got it. That makes sense. Thanks, Fred. Mark's got a question over here, Kelvin.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add that to Commissioner Brown's point, I think in the utilities element, we've talked about the infrastructure gaps, right, in the UGAs and how expensive it is, and why some of those UGAs haven't developed because of that expensive cost for extending sewer and water in particular, and roads. So ULIDs are a tool that can help repay and finance those improvements. And so I think we did mention that in the utilities element outside of EDI.
Yeah, I think Mark's right.
Is there any further comments on this? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Jefferson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
Oh, unanimous.
Go ahead, Director Personius.
Can I just suggest a minor amendment? Encouraging, the first word should be encourage, not encouraging, since it's beginning a new sentence.
I will call that a misspelling and we won't have to vote on it.
Super.
Oh,
And
love
I'm
it.
sorry, Eileen.
For what? For what, Chair?
I'm sorry, what was that, Eileen?
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, we have in this packet, we have a presentation. And I just wanted to know if we're going to get a chance to get an explanation of some of these things. There's a couple of things I don't follow on this.
Go ahead.
So I'm just trying to find the page. There's a page on, I'm just trying to find the page number here. It's on the disadvantaged sectors. There's a table. It is on page 21 of the housing needs analysis. So I have a question on that page.
Let me bring that up and then we'll have Andrew. Is there a text or table number or what? That I can just find it really easy.
It's look for figure 22. Keep going. That's it, right? So my question here is I don't know how to apply this table because it's got multiple entries for high, for example. Some seem to be contradicting each other. So maybe you could explain what this is saying.
Yeah, I can explain that, Commissioner Brown. So this table, just for a slight background, was developed by the Department of Commerce, and it refers to the map on the subsequent page. Can you just scroll down quickly to the map, Matt, here, which classifies displacement risk by census tract on these sort of three, well, there's four categories: high, moderate, low, and then there's this thing called demographic and market change, which is like the hashed lines. So the methodology behind this map is based on the three indicators in the table. Can you back up the table? Thanks. So these three indicators are social vulnerability, demographic change, and market trends. And each of those indicators has like these can be scored in one of several ways. Social vulnerability is just yes and no. Demographic change has, no disinvestment, gentrification, as you can see. And the displacement risk on the left, yeah, it is confusing the way this is set up. The idea, I think, behind it, I didn't develop this map, but I have read the methodology to try to understand it myself as well, is that each of the indicators in various combinations combine to an aggregated, the Department of Commerce's sort of best estimation of an aggregated displacement risk. So if you kind of look at it from right to left instead of left to right, somewhere where, so if you say that take the first line, the housing market is accelerating, as in things are becoming more expensive. There's been some indications of gentrification, which would mean increases in income and decreases in racial diversity, for example. And then social vulnerability, then that area or tract where all of those things are the case has a high displacement risk. Similarly, even if there isn't evidence of demographic change, they've determined that the combination of social vulnerability and market trends still suggests that there's a higher risk for displacement. So it's like all of these three indicators can be combined in these different ways to suggest higher, moderate, or lower risk.
So having had you explain that, now I understand how the chart works. But I got to tell you, from someone who just looks at it, it's not intuitive.
Yes, I agree.
Needs to be some explanation or something of how to read it.
Yeah, I didn't make a chart, but we certainly could think about maybe at least moving it from left to right, and probably putting the explanation before the chart to help. Maybe there's like even an arrow or something, just something to sort of articulate what I said about in this document.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would have put displacement risk on the right-hand side, saying 1 + 2 + 3 = 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay. Yep. No problem.
And Andrew?
Yes.
Question for you. And you talked about it, and is that a change that you are going to make then?
We can make that change. Matt, are we making changes to this document?
If the commission is in concurrence with that, Yeah, we can have you make that change. Is there any objection, I guess I would ask, from the commission members on that? Okay, so I'll
Go ahead, Matt.
yeah, so we'll take that as Andrea, basically same information, try to make it easier to understand.
Yeah, I'll move the text around and maybe write another couple sentences in there and reorder the chart columns.
Right. And Commissioner Brown.
So the other thing which I didn't see in here, unless I just missed it, is in the very beginning of our discussions on the comprehensive plan, we received data from OFM that talked about the changing demographics in the county. And there were two things that really struck the commission. One was the fact that the rate of natural birth, population growth through natural birth, has declined very significantly in the last 10 years. And the rate of immigration, predominantly by people who are over the age of 65, has significantly increased. And it's really changing the demographics of the county. And in particular, I believe it's one of the root causes. It's a good data related to the housing crisis, in that it shows that older people with money, retirees with money, are coming into the county and displacing young families who've been forced to move out of the county, because that, to me, is what explains those two trend lines. And I don't see anything in this report that seems to incorporate that data or speak to it. So I guess my question is there anywhere in the report that speaks to that?
I do recall that I mean, there's two other reports. One was the sort of background document that talked about that we used, that was the basis for the population projections, and that had the immigration data in it. And then another was that or very early background research on trends, that may be what you're referring to, from, like, I'm looking here, like June of last year. No,
it was this year, because I wasn't on the commission last year.
Okay, well, anyway, there is a background report that has some sort of assorted information, assorted, not sorted. I'm sorry, about that including some migration data in it, and some market data as well. I'm just looking through it here. So yeah, there may be some mention of this age. What I'm saying, Matt, I think, is that there are existing discussions of migration and age cohorts that we could put into this document if it would be helpful, or we could just point to somewhere that are in that background document for the projections. I don't know what may be the best way to address those.
We do have in chapter 1 this one. And this is, the commission considered this some time ago, but it's kind of showing the declining births minus deaths here. And then, of course, you had COVID here, and then boom, you got this big old rebound. And I think we do have the age in the chart also.
Yeah, it was around the same. It was in around the same documents.
Yeah.
I guess the question is if there's a desire to see it in the housing element itself. I mean, or a reference to it in the housing.
I don't think we've kind of moved away from, duplicating. So, I mean, you can see here 65 and over is 11.63% in 2000, 13.24 in 2010, 18.8. So I think it's showing what's going on here. As we get more seniors.
Still 64. Just right.
Commissioner Brown, did you have more? Your hand.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, Matt, I appreciate you finding the right charts, Matt. To me, the charts that you've just brought up are the other crux of the problem for the housing crisis in this community is that, you know, we're forcing our young people to leave. That's what this chart shows. I mean, young families simply cannot afford to stay in Whatcom County. And that means my children, my grandchildren, and you know, their cohorts they're just being forced out. And the evidence of who's forcing them out is in that age thing where you're getting, and it's, by the way, when I talk about immigration, I'm talking about domestic immigration. I'm talking about people in jurisdictions where houses are worth more money, selling them, taking their equity and then moving up to Whatcom County and displacing people in Whatcom County and putting the extra money in the bank. And that's people. I mean, the classic thing, I remember when I first came here over 30 years ago, I knocked on my neighbor's door and asked him about the neighborhood. And he looked at me suspiciously and said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm from Australia. My wife's from Canada." And he said, "Oh, that's okay, as long as you're not from California." Because we're sick of people coming up from California and moving into the county. I don't know why he preferred an Australian and a Canadian, but that was up to him. So, but this has been a long-standing problem, and it's just getting worse.
Matt, I also found the migration patterns write-up that we did in the background. Do you want me to bring that up? It has a chart
Yeah.
I could share it quickly. This may be useful. And it was, I guess, if you were on the commission last year, it's in there somewhere. So it's in this document, which was selected background research from June of 2024. That was at the very beginning of this process. And down at the bottom is this section on migration patterns. And it uses IRS data. And basically, my colleague Ted made this map, or this chart, which looks at household size and income to sort of look at where people are coming from into Whatcom County and what their incomes are, how, you know, and there's sort of other characteristics discussed here, residual net migration, and then up here are some charts of income of out migrants versus in migrants. So I think this backs up a lot of what you're saying. In this, I don't know where this document ended up, Matt, but
on the website, and can you scroll up to the very front page?
Yeah.
So I see Maddie, I think you're on. Can you just confirm, maybe take a look and confirm that got included in the bibliography?
This document here?
Yeah.
Yes, I made sure to include it,
Okay.
but I'll double check.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
As long as it, you know, I would just encourage us to keep this stuff front and center, because we're not going to solve the problem if we don't understand what the problem is. What's causing the problem, right?
Commissioner Hanson.
Well, we've been hearing this, and I agree that there's in fact, I would have been one of the ones saying that demographic and socioeconomic factors are the drivers in this situation of lack of affordable housing, not government regulations. But I don't think I think they said in that old song, ain't nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. And the things that we need to do to change that on a state and national level, not something we can do in Whatcom County.
Maddie, you have your hand up?
Touchdown. Yes, I included that reference. Just wanted to confirm.
So that's in the comprehensive plan bibliography appendix.
Is that
correct?
Yeah.
We close to moving this along? Make a motion. Make a motion. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, you can do it. Good.
I make a motion that we pass this along.
I second that.
I should say chapter 3 housing, that we pass chapter 3 housing and move it along.
Pardon me, folks. I've been waiting to make a motion.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner.
I
Hanson.
withdraw that.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Commissioner Van Dalen. Go ahead, Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, motion, add policy 3F-13. Provide a waiver of construction impact fees for long-term guaranteed affordable housing for the less than 20% income strata. And that was sent in an email. But I think that's what we've been talking about, is how to find what we can do to help provide affordable housing. And that's something we can do, is we can waive the development impact fees. And we may not think we have them, but I think we will be having them, so we could get ahead of the curve by talking about waiving them for special projects.
Commissioner Brown.
Well, I'd speak against, well, we don't have a second, so
We don't have a second if you, yeah.
I'll second it for just so we can get on the discussion. And then I'd speak against it if I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah. I think if you ask developers, Jim, they don't want the fees waived. They want the permits processed quickly. The carrying cost of a project is much greater than the fee cost. And the impact fees aren't being charged because a lot of the utilities and services that you get in the urban areas are provided by the developer anyway, if it's in an unincorporated part of the county. But I for one, and I know lots of others who are trying to build stuff, would actually pay higher fees if they could get a guarantee of a faster processing of a permit.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion, any further discussion? Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, Jim, I know you said that we might have impact fees in the future, but since we don't now, I don't know if it makes sense to put this policy in.
Go ahead.
We actually have one at school. We have school impact fees. We just aren't collecting them.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Greg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Jefferson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Abstain.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Abstain.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Barton.
Shane.
It passes.
My motion passed.
Job, Jim.
Any others, Jim, or can I continue with my first motion?
No, that I ran out of motions. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And on a high point.
I make a motion that we pass chapter 3 housing. And moving on.
I second that.
Just a question. So we've got those two appendices. Appendix I, the housing needs analysis, and Appendix J, the subsidized housing needs and funding. Is that going to be separate motions, or is that?
That would be included in that motion, the whole packet that we got.
I'm just holding on what Matt's doing some notes there, so I want to wait. So is there any discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson,
Yes.
Jefferson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Barton,
Commissioner Hanson.
Chair.
Yeah, now that we have,
Go ahead.
now that we have the business more or less taken care of, I wanted to say something that
Commissioner Hanson, hold just for a moment. Eileen,
Okay.
go ahead. You were asking.
Yes, I did not get your vote.
I'm sorry, I voted yes.
Okay, thank you. And that passes?
All right. Thank you, Eileen. Commissioner Hanson, go ahead.
Well, in reading this packet, I saw something in figure 2 that was pretty alarming to me, and that they did the distribution of housing for different income brackets. And for the extremely low cost burden, they call them extremely low cost burden housing, 61% of it in the entire county is in Kendall and Peaceful Valley. And that speaks towards what I've been trying to say about not putting any more population there because it's creating a despicable rural ghetto.
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, along with that, though, I thought it was pretty interesting that it also mentions just how high of a rate of home ownership they also have there. So I think you've got to recognize that it is a real strong source for affordable housing to the point where it's cheaper to live out there than it isn't to live in an apartment in Bellingham a lot of time.
The flood.
So, sorry. Derek, could I say something?
So go ahead, Andrew.
Sorry.
Andrew,
At the risk of being pedantic, I just wanted to point out that the percentage of there is a high percentage of extremely cost burdened households in Kendall and Peaceful Valley, but it's a high percentage of the total households within those UGAs. So not that there's more of a share of countywide extremely cost burdened households there, but that within each of the UGAs there's a high share.
Yeah, there you go.
Just to clarify, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Is there any other business? Commissioner Van Dalen.
No. Mark.
Go ahead, Mr. Personius, Director Personius, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. Just a question. This concludes all of your reviews and recommendations on all of the chapters. Staff is now working on those checklists, and findings and making corrections based on your previous motions on chapters 2 and 3. Question is, we don't have anything, and I just want to get Matt to confirm. I don't think we have anything for you for January 8th, but we could cancel that meeting and then get you ready and get us some time to get staff to get the whole package together for you and legal out and get the public hearing scheduled for your January 22nd meeting. Does that sound okay, or would you like to keep on meeting?
No, that sounds awesome.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, is that good with what you've got to do?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we'll move into those development regulations amendments when staff can get those ready. And also, we're trying to clarify with Blaine. So, they did the de-annexation. We're trying to clarify when that would become effective because we're going to have to do the comp plan amendment, from city to rural and the rezone to rural 10 acre. So we just need clarification on that. But yeah, there's going to be, map amendments, like you're talking about Columbia Valley. There's a URM6, that'll be a separate ordinance. Blaine requested to rezone their area east of the city to light impact industrial. The city of Bellingham with the Kitech area, that would need to be rezoned, and areas taken out of the UGA rezoned around Bellingham. I think they had some LII, light impact industrial commercial, and that would go to rural in the UGA reserve, things like that will be coming to you as follow-ups, most of which we've talked about. The housing code amendments really haven't yet, so.
All right, is there any other business? Eileen, go ahead.
Just a question. That's after we adopt the plan that'll come up, or potentially January 8th?
No, that would be after your final recommendations on the comp plan in January and you pass it on to council. Staff would be coming back to you probably starting in February with some of those regulatory changes.
Thank you,
Otherwise, I
Director.
would say happy holidays and thank you guys for all your work and your efforts on this. We
Thank you,
really.
everybody. Oh, and Eileen, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to clarify for the record, that the last vote to pass it on to council is a preliminary approve. I just needed it for the record and for the minutes. So.
Okay.
Okay, and Commissioner Brown.
I'd just like to say happy holidays, and I know that Mark goes through this cycle of letting his hair grow. I just wished he'd let it grow a little bit longer before Christmas, that's all.
Maybe next year.
And Commissioner Hanson.
Just one thing, when we're talking about these code changes, I would presume that we need to see that the code changes and UGA changes make it through council before we change ordinances, right?
Right, we would be bringing draft language to you guys for recommendations, and then as the plan goes through council review, February, March, then if there's any changes, we'll just we'll have to incorporate those. But we would at least have your initial recommendations on some of those changes.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just to circle back to Eileen's question she asked just now. So that's how we're taking these as kind of preliminary recommendations from the commission, because we're going to have a final public hearing and a final vote in January.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Or sorry, thank you, Matt and Mark. Commissioner Hanson, did you have more? Your hand is up.
He's good.
Is there any other business? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Holidays.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Bye.